All right, so it is 7:06. We'll call this meeting to order. So, welcome. So, Happy New Year.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody.
Everyone had nice holidays.
It's cold.
So, yeah, cold, a little windy, but we're fortunate in comparison to the folks in California, so.
Yes.
It's my old neighborhood. It's burning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I've got friends out there. I have a nephew in Altadena.
Yeah.
Flattened.
Unbelievable.
I don't know about his particular situation, but he's...
Yeah, Scott's in California right now, so
Wow.
he's flying home tonight.
That area.
Good.
A little bit, like south of LA, so. But,
It's a big place, so you can be completely unaffected when bad things happen.
yes, exactly, so. But, before we start, we have a note from Anne, I think. So Anne says, Dear Connie, Tom, Krista, Megan, Chris, and Alicia, thank you for the generous gift card and Priscilla candies. You are so thoughtful. I am grateful for another year working with y'all. It's a joy. Happy New Year. Peace, Anne. So, just want to make sure everybody got a chance to hear that. Library's director's report. Chris,
Okay.
you ready?
Director's report for December 2024. We had 0 curbside pickup, 234 patrons. We had for students, we had 10 classes with 11 visits with a total of 261 students. For story time, attendees, we had 34 adults, 38 children. Total attendance was 72. Storytime events in December was 3. Dungeons and Dragons, 1 event with 8 attendees. We had 4 volunteers with 9 visits with a total of 24.25 hours for the month. Not Just Knitting was 2 events with 5 attendees. Senior Book Club had 5 attendees. Boy Scouts had 3 visits with 32 attendees. We had a total of 11 new cards, which includes 1 e-card. For Facebook and Instagram totals, we had a Facebook page reach of 2,594. Total page likes for Facebook was 891. Page followers in December was 1,019. Facebook page visits was 391. Instagram page reach in December was 34. Instagram followers is 182. And Instagram profile visits in December was 9. The most popular Facebook post was Gift Wrap Night with 1,355, followed by number 2, Get Ready for Crafty Night with 1,051. We had 46 Wi-Fi connections and 405 website visits in December. Hubbardston items circulated regardless of location was 1,512. All items circulated at Hubbardston regardless of ownership was 1,660. Requested total holds was 91. Total number of patrons registered at Hubbardston was 1,414. And total number of items was 11,390. Overdrive monthly checkouts for December was 800. Holds on Overdrive for e-audio, 151. For ebook, 231, for a total of 382 holds. The library was closed on Thursday, December 5th, due to the weather, then on Tuesday, December 24th, and Wednesday, December 25th for the Christmas holiday, and December 31st for the New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay. I can just fix that in here.
Thank you. The Senior Club met on Wednesday, December 18th, and discussed Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. The next book club meeting will be held on January 25th at 11 a.m. at the Senior Center in the Slade Building at 7 Main Street, where they will discuss A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. Tricia offered 2 craft evenings with a total of 8 attendees, along with a gift wrapping evening with 2 attendees. In addition, a Quabbin student offered an evening of crafts for the community service, which was well received. Murray Masonry has completed the foundation work. The December displays were winter holiday themed for both the adult and children's room. The January displays will be all about New Year's resolutions. Respectfully submitted by Christine Barbera. The financials are as of November 30th because the December numbers just came out today. So I was like, it's not gonna make it. And the last page is the page that were visited on the website over the month of December. Any questions?
So the financial report is for December,
Yes, and,
should I say December 30 or?
no, this was November 30th.
Oh, for November,
Because
oh, thanks. That's
they
what you just said.
released the December numbers today, and I didn't get it until 4:30 today, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have we received the invoice for the foundation worker yet?
It didn't come to me.
Okay,
I can check with Nate.
okay. Because when it comes in, we'll need to work with CPC
Yep,
and CIPC
okay,
to take the funds out of it.
got it.
But, hey, we got the foundation done. That's awesome. I'm super excited about that. So thanks for everybody who worked on that. I know that's been on our list for a while now. So, has everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes from December? Are there any changes that need to be made?
I felt like we got out a lot later than 8:20, but I think it's because it's dark. But
Yeah.
the minutes, as
8:20.
usual, seemed great. I was
Mhm.
just like, 8:20, gosh. It
Oh.
felt like,
Can you fix my name?
I did.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry.
That's
I
all
don't
right.
know
I just
why
sort of
I did
migrated
that.
through. It's like.
I'm sorry about
No,
that.
it's no problem.
Chris let me know and I already
That's no
fixed
problem.
it.
It was close.
I'm really,
Well, it's just that it was different, you know?
Yeah. I was
Pick one.
inconsistent.
Just pick one.
You have a why, I know.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make such a motion.
Tom, second. Chris, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, 5-0-0. So for the minutes. Next up is establishing a Friends of the Library.
Isn't it 600?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, 600. Thank you. So, I'm just,
I thought it was being left
it's
out.
new math.
no, I was just not counting myself. So. So, establishing a Friends of the Library. I don't know if Tom and Alicia have an update. I have some information to share, but I'll let you guys go first if you have anything.
I don't have anything else.
I don't have anything.
We were waiting to hear about the people that wanted
Okay.
to.
All right. In December, I had sent an email to. There's 12 people who expressed interest in reviving the Friends of the Library group to see what their availability was. I'm sorry, I'm just pulling this up real, Chris. I think 8 of the 12 people responded, so that was good to the survey. And just trying, sorry, I don't have all my, it's not opening for me. It looked to me, and I'm basing this off of a little bit of memory because I can't pull up the one to meet at the moment, that the time that most of those people, I got it, it just popped up. Time that most of those 8 people expressed that they were available was Monday, January 20th between 12 and 2. I think all but 1 or 2 could come during that time. That is Martin Luther King Day. Alicia, I know that you said you would be available like after 1?
Yeah, about 1:15.
At 1 or 1:15?
Something like that.
Chris, I know, so I think the people who do need to be there are Chris, Alicia, and Tom.
So will the library be closed that day?
The library would be closed that day because it's Martin Luther King Day,
Yes.
correct? Yes. Tom, are you available on?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to try and schedule that meeting that at maybe 1:30 or
Oh,
so that day. Would that
plenty of
work for
time.
you?
Yeah.
We can either, I can either, let me just back up a minute. So we're inviting those 12 people, but we're also opening up the meeting to anybody who wants to come. I just wanted to give priority to people who expressed interest and try and accommodate their schedules.
Okay, 1:30.
So we'll advertise it to others.
So we
Where would
will.
we be?
So I'm thinking it would be 1:30 on Monday, January 20th, maybe 1:30 to 2:30. since it is a holiday, the building would be empty, so we can give them the tour. I think in our last meeting, we talked about giving them a tour of the building and then having a discussion about, reestablishing the Friends group. Chris, are you comfortable opening the building on Martin Luther
Absolutely.
King Day? Okay. If everyone's interested in attending, I can post it as an official meeting. So I will go ahead and do that. So if y'all want to attend, that works fine. So I'll put together like an invitation to these people, and then also one that we can post maybe on social media, and then maybe also send out through the town listserv to solicit as much interest as possible.
I think posting's a good idea. Is it required? There's only two
Not
of us?
posting, but just like announcing.
Advertising.
Okay.
So when
Not
she is
posting in the
referring to
open
post,
meeting law
you
sense.
post on Facebook.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
It's
sorry. Yeah,
okay.
so it would be. So
I'm
we
not- I
yeah,
don't-
so
I'm
we
not a
post on
Facebook.
social media, send an email out, but I also will do an official posting for a meeting, because if all of us are going to be there, we need to have it posted
Okay.
Oh, I
too.
see.
So there would
Okay.
be it would be posted as a trustees
Yeah, I
meeting.
gotta catch up with the new world.
So yeah, so
Posting.
that's
No,
that's
we
where
don't.
we would be. Yeah, absolutely do not need to be.
I can say I've
Um,
never posted anything on Facebook.
No, me neither.
Yeah. So, so let's go ahead and plan that for January 20th, like 1:30 to 2:30. We'll get some snacks and stuff like that. And then I also reached out. So there is a binder in the library called Friends of the Library, which I've gone through a couple of times. And there's some paperwork in there talking about how, and I think I mentioned this before, about how the Friends of the Library had tried to maybe coordinate with the North Central Community Foundation of North Central Massachusetts. So I reached out to them to see, because there's a whole set of paperwork's been filled, so I actually thought they did it. So I reached out to them to ask, do you have any, we had a friends group back in 2009 that was trying to get established. It seems to be defunct probably around 2014 or 15. We're not sure what happened. Can you kind of verify whether or not we worked with you? Because it looked like I have some paperwork. And if we do decide to go this route to revive the Friends through your organization, what's the process?
The North Central, what was it?
It was the CFNSM, Community Foundation of North Central Massachusetts. That's what it was
Thank you.
through. A woman named Erin Thomas was super helpful. I emailed her yesterday. It was very last minute. She said, let me just do some investigation. She got back to me today, and she said, so she said she did a deep dive into our records, and she finds no agreements nor any recorded notes about anything regarding the Friends of the Library. However, she does see that there's a contact in our system for the friend, Sandra McLeod, but no notes. So maybe someone at one point reached out to them,
I know Sandy
but
McLeod.
nothing. But nothing
Okay.
kind of went from there. So there is no. So at least through this foundation, the Friends group was not established. And then she kind of explained to me what, if we wanted to establish it with them, what the steps would be. I'll just read this to you, and then we can go from there. I will say that if you are considering establishing a fund for the benefit of the library, that we are able to assist even without an active 501c3. When you open a fund with the Community Foundation, we serve as a 501c3, and you come in under our umbrella. I'm assuming the town budget supports the library, and the town as a municipality is able to receive distributions from a fund at the Community Foundation. One way to do it would be the Friends could establish a designated fund for the benefit of the library, in which the Friends would be the fund owner, and the town of Hubbardston would be the beneficiary, with the understanding that grants are made for the purpose of supporting library efforts. The library trustees would make decisions on how the money is to be allocated, and then work with the town to apply payments as needed. Distributions from such a fund can be made on a regular schedule automatically, such as annually or on demand. Whether a fund is endowed or unendowed depends on the purpose. And then she asked if I wanted to set up a meet to talk about it more. So there is an opportunity there to kind of come under their umbrella, and I believe based on what little bit I've been able to find, like they would file the 990 that we have to file every year. They would help with some of the administrative costs. They would help with some grants. I also think, based on what I saw in the paperwork in the Friends binder and what I saw on their website, is that the expectation is that we would contribute $10,000 over the course of 4 years. So it's kind of like the fee to come under their umbrella.
To the foundation?
To the foundation, to kind of help with the administrative work. So this is an option. I think I will schedule a Zoom call, and if anybody wants to join me, you're welcome to. Just so we can present that information on the 20th as an option for prospective friends, like whether they want to go that route or not. But I think we can present this option, and then the attorney that you all have been kind of talking to, or
Well,
know
trying
of,
We didn't
know of
do anything yet.
in Barry, right? And say, these are the two kind of paths that we've investigated for you. And if they want to go a different path, that's also fine. But just kind of doing a little bit of groundwork for them so they're not like completely flailing. So that is what I've learned so far.
I guess one question I have, that maybe I didn't understand it correctly, but in the online thing from Friends, the trustees are not supposed to be in charge of what.
And we wouldn't be. I'm just doing like a little bit of like,
No, I know that,
Yeah.
but apparently they are assuming that the trustees have some
For spending
say,
money.
unless
For
I misunderstood
allocation
you,
of funds.
Right.
of where the funds go.
So-
And I thought that we were not.
that
allowed to
could
do
be a
that.
question we could ask, a clarifying question, or maybe she meant to say the Friends of the Library would
They're
be the
ma-
ones allocating.
The Friends could have trustee. Friends
Oh.
organization could have
Oh,
trustees.
so it would be
Theoretically.
their own trustees.
Not that we want
wouldn't
them.
be us. Okay.
You can
They would have their
assign-
own board.
Yeah, they could have
Yeah,
their own
okay.
board of trustees, and
Okay.
these people deal with very large organizations. They also feel a little expensive.
It does feel a little bit
Yeah.
expensive, and I think that's why they didn't ultimately go that path. But then they also were struggling, from what I can tell. So then the Friends never got established,
Yeah.
right? So I think you have to weigh the cost of it. I'm not advocating either way. I'm just
Right.
information
Well,
gathering.
good that, reached out to them.
So
The other thing I've heard, maybe someone knows something about it, is I've been told there's a chicken and an egg. The Friends has to exist in order to take contributions, and then the Friends need a seed money in order to exist, and the seed money presumably would be a contribution. So, is that resolvable, or can we?
We
Can
could
they
have-
accept
I mean, we're not the
seed-
first ones to establish a Friends group,
I
so
know.
it's got to be resolvable. So
Well,
The workshop, or the online thing that we attended, you can apply for a grant to help get set up. That's what that, I think, is set up to do.
From who?
From
From
this,
whom?
it's part of the American Library Associations. They call it United for Libraries, and it's like basically a support group for library trustees and friends groups. I mean, they kind of help both. So it's, I guess we would have to decide if we want to go ahead and apply. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but I think it was February, I think is the, yeah, I have to look it up. I think I
Maybe
sent out the
somewhere.
minutes, but I have to review them myself. But I think we could do that as a way to help get
Or
started.
that could be the first assignment.
Exactly, they could do it.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Because they made it clear that you didn't already have to have a friends, you just have to have a plan, and you have to have the people, so we could present that.
Yep.
I could make a little
Yeah,
short
exactly.
thing of that. So I guess it's kind of a third option.
right.
Yeah.
So, or it could even be apply for the grant, and then it either
Use the
that money
other one.
goes to the
Mhm.
attorney, or the money goes to the community foundation to get started, right?
Yeah.
So, so that's what I know about the past.
Very good.
All right. So at some point before the 20th, we should come up with like an agenda and like what all we're actually going to share with people at this meeting.
Well, I think those three options that we discussed,
Mhm.
tour of the building, open discussion of interests and ideally, if possible, at that meeting, if one of the interested parties is, or if they want to have a vote or somehow identify a point lead person, a contact to start a direction. Because I think that that point person, direct contact, etc., is what really then we addressed and things like that.
Do we want to see if we could get somebody, I think you said you know somebody who's on a friend somewhere else, just like somebody who could be a resource for them, not that they would have to speak necessarily.
Yeah, but the person that I know is not local.
Okay.
And she's in Leverett, so she's not
Okay.
gonna come.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would also think that that might be something that down the road,
Maybe
after
later.
In the
we
springtime,
get
you
contacted
might-
and give them
Yeah.
information.
Who's gonna-
And then also part of the information sharing, like of the resources that we did find in webinars that they can go back to and things like that. Get questions that they might have and what we do know that we could share of resources or say, hey, maybe we can help you with the research of this and see how it evolves from there. But I think the tour and share of information options and trying to, from that meeting in a 1 hour span of time, that's quite a bit to fit in 1 hour.
Maybe we could schedule for 90 minutes too.
Yeah.
And if we end early, then that's, nice.
And maybe they could try to schedule a follow-up meeting too.
Yeah. And we also, I am curious, about, like, are folks interested in being a member of the Friends versus
Exactly.
reestablishing a Friends, which is a very different process,
And then,
so.
is anybody in the group like actively seeking to take the leadership?
Yep.
And if nobody is actively seeking to take the leadership and wants to have a more passive role, then what is our next course of action?
Right.
Is it possible for us to share that document about forming the Friends group? I mean, I sent out everybody the last page, which was just, but it's 19 pages before that. Do you need to sign up with United?
No,
or
I don't think
can-
so.
Can you just?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we could give a link of that to anybody that was interested, which,
Okay.
otherwise we're just explaining the same thing 14
I
times.
have to go back, but I think we could just make like a short version of the thing that they have and then link to those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just something that
Yeah.
give them a skeleton to work with.
A foundational task would be to develop a mission statement. And we, in assistance to that end, go and get Westminster, Princeton, Rutland, Barry, Templeton mission statements and just print them out and say, this is what they are, this is the kind of things they say, push it across the table.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I think as much support as we can give them without actually like overstepping and establishing it, I think would be beneficial.
So from quick notes on that is, it would be like meeting everybody, I would assume introductions, a tour, the 3 pathways that we identified as far as the lawyer from Barry, the Community Foundation of North Central Massachusetts, and then establishing of a 501c. 501c3. Creation of a mission statement, sharing of the 19-page document with perhaps a summary, trying to identify a leader / interest level, and then follow-up meeting, right?
Yep. And then some mission statements. Yes.
Yeah, I think we should establish leaders. Let them pick their own singular, or whatever they do.
Leadership group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just who's willing to.
Just take this on because I think they need to have a president for the I guess
President
if you
/
go
chair.
through the 501c3 route, you have to have like a president as your of your nonprofit or executive
President,
director.
treasurer, secretary.
So, all right. So I will go ahead and set up a Zoom call with the person from the Community Foundation. Does anybody want to participate in that? Or do you just want me to do it as an information gathering?
It depends when you set it up. If you share when it is, if I'm available, I'd be interested.
Okay. Do you want me to work with your schedule?
Possibly.
I'll go collect mission statements.
Okay.
And I'll make a little summary from that.
Mhm.
We can work
Yeah.
together and
Yes.
make a little
Okay.
summary.
That'd be
on
fine.
that.
All right. So the 20th is, a week from Monday. So I may do like a save the. So I think what we'll do is I'll try and get a save the date or just an invite ready to go for like Monday, I guess, next Monday.
Sure.
That gives people a week's notice. They may or may not, and then we can put out a more formal agenda later, or maybe we just have the agenda available when they get there, But give it some broad strokes of what we want to do.
Let's not scare them away.
Yeah, right,
If-
exactly.
If within the agenda, similar to our own, if we have, especially with the 19-page, if there's a link to that and summary for that,
Well, that's what
that we
I was
can,
thinking, but,
Yeah.
I think Krista's idea. of
because
just
then we
making
can give
it
them the
more
resources
readable.
right
Yeah.
there too.
Okay.
And we can link to the full documents, but
Yeah.
just say we would need to fill out these forms and then we can look at it.
Okay.
I think I pretty much did that. Oh, some of it as I was
All right.
reading
So
it,
I'll work on
I
a quick
remember
invitation
what
over
it
the
said.
weekend,
So, yeah.
and then send it to you, Chris, to post.
Sure.
And then we'll send it out through the town listserv too. So I guess I'll send it
I
to
will
you.
send it to.
Trisha. So yeah. So you too. Okay. Feel good about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I may have missed this if I didn't hear you. Can we put it up to something in the library in black and white?
Yes.
Yep.
So people who don't
Yep.
check Facebook?
Sure. Absolutely.
me.
Or no email? Yes. Absolutely.
And
Yes.
you don't know about them as email? Just-
Yes. Thank you for doing
Outside
that.
sign maybe.
Wouldn't
Yeah, that sign
Yeah.
on the step was great.
Couldn't Nate put a?
Nate, it's been passed on to my plate, so yes, I will
Well,
put it on the town
couldn't
website in
Nate's-
the
Nate's
e-subscriber
faithful
blast.
servant put.
Yes, yes, I most certainly can if you get me everything, and I'll get it out there, and it'll go out email blast like it does whenever we do news or
Yep.
events.
Exactly.
So if I do
like
an electronic sign app, is that sufficient?
And
for
then
you?
we'll do that as well. So we'll do the sign that's out there. If you get me the documentation, any links or any documents or whatever that I can add, I'll get it all together and get it out on the town website. And then once I post on the town website through our town website, I can actually send it out to our e-subscribers. So that's that email blast that you'll see go out based.
I should have
All
seen
the
it
time.
because of the
Yeah.
lights.
The plumber
You don't get
I
them?
don't do a lot of stuff online,
we were
so
looking at the
I
other
like the sign on the step.
Some-
That's
Yeah,
good.
those
Yeah.
and we'll have it readily available
really
for
good.
everybody as
You
well.
just sign up,
Yep.
like the watercolor thing or the pastel
Or
thing. That
like-
was-
We'll talk about it.
The people will tell me all the time
No,
they'll get
it's
the
in the
email.
policy.
They won't read the email. They'll just come in because on the bottom of the email it says, if you want a hard copy, just come see me. And people come in and be like, I got this email. Can I have the hard copy?
There you
I'm like,
go.
it was in the email. It's
Well, I mean,
people
it
never
just-
cease to amaze me in this town about certain things.
We'll try to continue.
Okay.
It's a generational thing, I think.
All right, CPC grant application. I believe Chris and Tom and Krista were working on this, and I know Chris has done a ton of work getting people to come in and kind of give some quotes.
Chris K.
Chris
And-
K. Yes.
And Tom and Krista have joined in on that and asked some really good questions. Chris helped look around a few times the first day. Met with, 2 contractors yesterday and 3 today. That includes painting, general contracting, plastering, 2 flooring people, and a plumber, which we may not need.
And before you go a little bit further, can you kind of just outline what we're thinking about putting into the CPC grant?
Sure. So rooms A and B, if everyone recalls the diagram, the 2 rooms that are now occupied by the town clerk,
In the land
That's
use
A.
office. Yep, and then B is the land use office.
land use, okay.
For
And-
those watching at home.
Right, and getting those rooms as functional as possible without investing a whole renovation for children's programming, meeting, and, other uses. And without moving Chris's office, without restoring that stairway, we'd have access from the lower level. So the proposals are fairly basic, but as we asked questions, they became more and more, they looked deeper than we did. So all of them said they would give us quotes by the end of the week, and hopefully by the beginning of next week.
Okay.
The thing that's still uncertain as to whether or not the wall between A and B is a supporting wall. A couple of contractors suggested it doesn't really matter because it can be made wider just by opening it up a little. And if we needed to, we could put temporary barriers or privacy barriers between.
There's a whole beautiful partition that doesn't have a home right now that
Is it hand painted?
No, it's this beautiful, like it's the same material like cubicles are made out of.
Yeah.
And it's huge, and it doesn't have, it's living at 48 right now because it was here in the senior center and they didn't need it, so that's always an option.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we establish last week or last month that room A, even if that partition didn't change, room A was adequate square footage for your...
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
So room A is the town clerk's room.
room A is the town clerk's room after this past
Right.
week at the animal show.
Yeah.
I start to wonder about her room. Whew, that
Could
was
use A and B for that.
Oh my God, yeah, I'd have to. That was an experience. That was a shock.
For what? I'm sorry.
The animal show I did
Yeah.
last Friday.
You need the bigger space.
Oh my God, yeah, we packed people in there like sardines. So, but it was amazing to see. It was wall to wall people.
So
So-
we kind of need to have a, like a, not phases, but like options, right? Like option one would be to have both rooms together. Option,
I was going to say, having the option of having flexibility. I remember years ago, the kids were little, and I think it was a combination, but library event with Birds of Prey, and we ended up being in here, and even this was packed with chairs, and there was no way that we could have fit in the library.
So I'm just trying to remember back to our meeting on December 23rd or so. And I don't know if this has changed or not, but I thought we left the meeting saying that this CPC proposal was going to be for flooring and painting A and B. And then we were going to establish a group to do a more formal like assessment. Is that, or has that changed? Because I know there was also
Well-
talk about the ceiling now too. So
Almost every contractor that came in saw the ceiling as unstable and needing
Okay.
to be done.
okay.
so the goal of this is to just make those spaces functional.
But don't overlook the good news. They found the sink.
Yeah, I know, that's
Knew
awesome.
about it. We should have just asked her.
Yes.
Oh,
And
the
so-
one in the weird closet in the conference room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew it was there?
So they're
I've never
still
turned it
looking at
on.
the
Well,
ceiling
we
as
don't
a
know there's a
minimalist.
drain. We haven't
Okay,
posted the
so
drain.
then-
Stabilize it.
Okay, so this CPC grant would then be for like finishing the floors, painting, and perhaps the ceilings.
And finishing the floors is probably not going to be refinishing the wood. Both contractors suggested
All new flooring.
vinyl.
Vinyl tile on
covering
top.
Yeah, the reasoning being that they've already been sanded once and they're getting thin. And as you get thinner and thinner, you get closer to that tongue and groove thing. And the tongues start to crack off and you end up with a mess. So they said it's better to cover it. And I think the choice was really some kind of a subflooring carpet or a floor similar in nature to this that we're in.
So replacing or refinishing.
How
the
does
floor.
that impact the historical nature of the building?
Yeah.
I don't know that it does. It's
I'm
not,
just asking.
Both,
Yeah, it's
both
not-
of those contractors were made aware, and I did ask someone, I can't remember, it was Rick Keller, the plastering person, who came in and talked about all the aspects of it. And he was well aware that this was a historical building, and he said not finishing the floor as is shouldn't be a problem. But I don't know that for sure. Is there someone I could check with?
Chris, is that something where the historical?
We actually have a deed restriction that we can look at, and it says on that deed restriction what you can and can't, what they need, and you don't need to worry about painting as long as it's a historical color. I don't know what they said about flooring. I'd have to
Okay.
go back to the thing, but I have it in my office.
Okay.
I should mention that a floor like this, if it ever came to it, you can peel it up. It's not nailed, it's a floating floor. It goes down on the wood and it clips together and it's stable and doesn't move around, but it's not glued or nailed to the floor. And it goes right on the wood.
The general contractor, Cormier, offered to submit separate bids for the plastering. He said he does that too, the painting, ceiling repair, everything but the flooring.
Okay.
So we would have some comparison, I
Okay.
hope, there.
Yeah, that would be good.
And he's going to remove the barriers in the town clerk's office.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
The wall and
the
the-
wall and the counter.
the
and
counter.
That would be great.
Okay. So I believe what the CPC grant is due on the 15th.
And Krista had worked on a
I
draft
think
of
so.
it.
Yeah.
Just like extremely preliminary, but yeah.
We probably have more information from looking
Yeah.
at those documents
Well, and
today.
you had some notes from the,
Yeah.
and when we get the bids too.
Yeah.
But I guess we have to decide if we want to go ahead with it.
I think at this, I would advocate that we do, because we're not necessarily asking to do like a complete overhaul. We're just painting, flooring, and ceiling. Not even necessarily taking down the wall between the two spaces. Because Tom made a good point of, if you look at that door between the two, you can see that it's probably the original, like, hinges and stuff like that. I think it looks kind of...
It's a pretty big door too.
And it's
so-
heavy.
And so that could be good, where if you had a space where people, like, I guess it just depends on ultimately. I mean, that could be something that could be done a little bit later too. Like, I still think you can do flooring and painting and ceilings, and then if you decide you need to do something to the wall, you could do something
Right.
to the wall.
One question I have, and I talked to Chris about this, is like the stairway goes into her office right now. So I think we need to move your office, make that more of a public space. And
That's
there's-
if you're going to use the staircase to gain access to the library itself. If we're just using it as programming right now,
Oh.
then do you need access to the library?
Well, I don't know, like on a day like today, if you have to go outside
That's
and
true.
around, I mean, maybe not immediately, maybe
Yeah.
that's
Right,
an
but wouldn't we have to
option.
have an elevator first?
Well, eventually, but I think
I mean,
people can go around and then they have the same issues they have
Right.
now.
I guess I'm saying, can they come up through those stairs?
With access to the other side, is there interest, Chris, in utilizing the other side of CD, E? I think he's tiny, but
I was toying with the idea of, and I want input from Tricia on using the Old Town Clerk area where the counter is
Which
on
is
the other
D.
side.
Which is which?
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah.
D.
Yeah, I don't
Because
want
room E right now, well,
it's tiny.
it's tiny and it's cold. It's very
Yeah,
cold in
it's
there.
tiny.
It's tiny, and D, I do believe, already has most of the hookups for phone, internet, and that kind of thing. Because Joyce and I went in there the other day, and I don't know what's going to happen to Sharon. She's using E right now. I think she's moving over here with the senior
If
center.
you're open to utilizing, it almost seems, especially if we want the functionality of AV and programming and it makes the most of openness, D does, as it is and most recently has been used as an office, would have the greatest flexibility for you and possibility of you expanding goals of organization and being able to see. And then that would fit in with goals of like knowing how we can support you.
It
as
could also be
director.
for staff. I mean, right now you have an office, but nobody else,
That's
does.
true.
Yeah.
They may not need it, but at least they'd have a space where they could go eat lunch or whatever.
True.
Well, we'll have that. I think that room right there is the lunchroom. But
Oh, okay.
I think we can throw a microwave and a refrigerator in there. College room size refrigerator.
We have one up in my office already.
Oh,
You also mentioned like they could be meeting rooms, right? If you
Yeah.
wanted to do that.
Yep.
I mean, room
You
D
see
doesn't
right
need a
now
whole lot of
a meeting
renovation,
room?
does it?
Not really.
I honestly,
I mean, until the stuff comes
I was
out.
gonna
until
we're
the
not
stuff
gonna know
comes
for sure.
out, we're
Right.
not gonna know for sure. And right now, as of this moment, this very day, I'm not sure what's happening to all the files that are in room D. Nate and I have to physically open up those boxes and take a look at what's inside, and based on the retention schedule, if we can just put in to have them destroyed, or if we have to keep them. If we have to keep them, I need to figure out a way to get all of that now over to 48 and find a place to store it.
I'll alert you that when people submit plans, the town requires like 5 sets of plans.
I know.
Then we record one set.
Bunkers.
Well, no, it wasn't bunkers. It was meant to be distributed to building inspector,
Right, and now
conservation committee, etc. They don't distribute them.
Right now, I
So-
can tell them as soon as they start to walk into the when they used to walk into the land use office, and I saw a stack of plans. I'm like, don't hand me that. Give me the digital file, because that's how most of them want it now. They want a digital file because, like, Duffy with his iPad will,
Yeah.
blow it up or whatever
So
like
I
that.
think you can take these rolls and take out one good one, throw 5 away,
Right.
and consolidate this down
Consolidate
to one
and
cylinder.
put them into the. Well, we were hoping that we could get our hands on a plotter, like the one that's in the land use office now that bit the dust, because if we scan them in digitally, we don't have to retain any physical copies. But some of the historical maps that we found in the vault, they need to stay, obviously.
If you get it down to a small enough roll, you can contract it out, and they'll do them,
Yep,
get them back in a day.
yep. So that is the hope. But as of right now, first week of February, town offices are moving.
Okay.
So I'm really excited. This is my baby
You've
project.
done a lot of work for that.
Yeah, it's getting a mover to call you back. Believe it or not, next to possible.
I'd like to congratulate Chris on getting contractors to call it.
Oh, I know.
I think
I
it's
had much
just
less luck.
Gosh,
the
when you said, oh, these
alignment
are
of
the
the
contractors, I was like,
stars.
oh,
Next week,
wow.
I'm like, wait a minute, how did you get them to call you back? Did you like
They all
grab them?
called back and they all made appointments. Some changed them, some did last minute. Oh, I'm free now, can you come? It just all worked out. I
That's
don't know
great.
how.
So yeah, I
Good
appreciate you
job.
doing all that work. So
I got to meet one of them. You're all in the
Oh,
office.
that's right.
so our
I would be in favor of going forward with it, with some changes and
okay. So it sounds like we would be going forward with ceiling, flooring, painting,
Plaster.
plaster, in A and B. Okay.
And if we get that other grant, that will can just either
The other
do,
grant.
well, we put in money for the furniture and the other, we put in in the capital improvement plan.
It doesn't go in until 26 or 27.
Oh, okay.
So we're not going to get it we're not going to
Okay.
get it.
Okay,
We're not going to get it July 1st.
Okay.
And also, when you put that in, the understanding is that we will find money for it, that the town's not necessarily going to fund it for us.
okay.
I think we have to
Okay.
expect that's probably more
Right.
the case than.
But this doesn't conflict with any of that. It just allows us to use that space sooner.
Yep.
Okay.
how do you feel about finishing, how does everyone feel about finishing the grant proposal by the 15th? That's right around the corner.
So that is
I think
next-
it's ambitious, but
Who's
if
the
the
worker?
quotes come in,
If the
especially,
quotes come in.
so kudos to you.
Well, they haven't come through yet.
But
Well, these are estimates.
Estimate.
They're,
okay,
you know,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
true.
these are just
I'm sorry,
ballparks,
estimates.
just so we
But
so we
that
know what to-
helps.
yes, so we know what
And
to
that
request.
documentation will help with, yes.
I don't mind. I mean, if y'all need help, I don't mind writing the narrative part. Of why we are applying for the funding. If
I
y'all-
have time to work on it too.
So it's up. I mean, up to you. I mean, I know you three have been kind of leading it, so I'm happy. I'm
I
happy
think
to help in
probably
any way I
one
can.
writing session might get us through, once we have more information.
Well, my suggestion is keep it short and simple. You'll have I think you'll have an opportunity to
Defend.
speak to the committee as a whole
Mhm.
and answer questions. That's the way they used to do it. I'm not sure what this year is up to.
Yeah.
We could have a Google Doc, right? And then put in, like you have some notes and things.
I had some, not many, but a couple of comments on the draft. I just need to get into I couldn't edit that one.
Okay, maybe I
And
didn't
yet
set it up right.
the previous one I could, so
Okay,
I'll straighten that out
Okay.
eventually. It's all handwritten now.
okay. That was really rough. It was just like, let's get
It's
this
a good
started.
start.
Okay.
All right, so does it sound like the three of you will kind of work on it? And if
Follow
you
up.
need to pull me in, I will happily come in and, help with any way I
Sounds
can.
good.
I'll let you know by Monday if I got anything.
Because
And I'll send out reminders to the contractors by Monday if I don't.
Okay.
The ones I met sounded very reasonable people with a
Enthusiastic.
real sincere effort to get them to you.
Yeah.
So I think we'll do all right.
did they know our timeline?
Yes.
Of January 15th? Okay, perfect. Good. All right, library fundraising opportunities. Trisha, you're up.
Okay, sorry I'm late. My middle child has a sinus infection, so he fell asleep on me, so I had to peel him off of me. So, two things. So, a bunch of moms over the past year and a half has asked me if I have an Amazon wish list. They would like to donate that way. I've created one. Most things on it are the giant size of crayons, the teacher-sized colored markers, colored pencils, glue, certain cleaning products that I use because I don't. I use certain cleaning products in the children's room just because hands are constantly going in their mouths, and I've got a good range of kids, age-wise, and drippy noses and cold and flu season and their little petri dishes of germs. So I use things that are really kid-friendly. Most of it's just hydrogen peroxide cleaner. Stuff like that on the Amazon wish list. There's nothing over $100 on it. One mom did ask me to put something big on there that I would love to see in the library, and it's a cubby system because a lot of my little friends that come, the first thing they do, for some reason, I don't know why, they take their shoes off. Enter into the library, into the children's room, shoes come off.
Maybe because
Don't know why.
They
They
do
take
that
their
at
shoes
home.
I think
off
that's a
at
good
home,
idea.
probably.
Yeah.
So they take their shoes off, and it's great because actually I've seen, because they do that, I'm seeing less salt being tracked into the library, which is tough when you've got little ones on the floor and you've got salt everywhere. So it's a cubby for shoes. And it's the same company that makes all the other furniture we've got in there. So I would like your blessing. I didn't want to post it. I didn't want to do anything with it without asking you guys first. But it's something that the moms and grandparents and other people who come to the different programs have asked me if I have a wish list. So, like I said, there's nothing on it that's extreme. It's mostly just things that I tend to run out of on a constant basis because they get well loved and well
Nothing
used.
illegal about that.
Nope.
As a use of-
No, most
All
teachers
for it.
do it at the beginning of the year, so I figured, why the heck not? So,
The only concern I have is that it would be kind of competing with the Friends.
right.
So I'm not opposed to this. I think it's a great idea because you can get, you can get specific things, but if the Friends are trying to raise money and,
Right.
people are doing it separately, it could potentially be a
So I've
conflict.
actually had this wish list for a year and a half, and I've never posted it because I've never wanted to ask. So this was way before we ever thought we were getting a friends group.
Yeah.
So that's when I started it, and I've been adding to it over the year, just things that I notice we get low on constantly. I go through a lot of glue, believe it or not.
I suggest we go forward with it now and let
Right.
the friends do it next time.
That's
Yeah.
a good point,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, I think you can get us started, and when the friends group, they kind of take it over.
They take it over,
Yeah.
and if there's certain things I need, I'd rather go to the friends group and say, hey, is there a way that
Well,
we
the
can fundraise for
the friends
this?
could
or-
expand it beyond your programs into other things.
Right, right.
Do we need to declare or provide receipt or anything like that with the town of gifts received?
So there is the conflict of interest where anything under, but if it's a donation to the library, I think it's not seen as a gift per se. Like, they're not gifting me something, they're gifting it to the library. Like, they order anything off the Amazon wish list, it actually comes straight to the library's front door. It doesn't get delivered to my house, it doesn't get delivered to Chris's house, it gets delivered straight to the library.
The donation is to the library, not to the individuals.
Individuals.
I can call
It
up
should be
this, I have the phone number for the attorneys in Boston, but I can check, but I don't think that's gonna be an issue.
Okay.
The donee would need a receipt if he cared to claim, he or she
To claim
cared
it,
to
and
claim
that
it
would
on
come
taxes, but-
through on the Amazon wish list, because the way I have it set up, they know that it's for a library, it's for a tax-free entity, that they will receive that receipt when they pay for it, for their records, for their
I said it
tax
wrong. It's not the donee, it's the donor.
donor.
So you'll check whether receipts would be needed from the town, but most likely they would just come from Amazon.
They would just come from Amazon. It says enjoy your gift when you receive it.
Do other libraries do that?
Other libraries, smaller libraries do it. I actually talked to the woman in Hadley who runs the Storytime in the Hadley library, and she said, back when it was they've got a whole brand new library, but back when they were a tiny rural library, much like where we are, this is how she got things for her Storytime, because, you had to work within a certain budget.
I also think it's a compliment that you were actually approached.
I know.
That's very nice.
They always ask me, what can we do, what can we donate? And I say, just bringing the kids here is a joy. And then they're like, no, what can we get you? So a few of the grandmothers at the end of story time, they've popped money into the donation bucket. But I think a lot of them, instead of giving us money, would really like to actually give us something physical, something that they can see their grandkids or children or whoever comes using. So
Maybe that would be a nice group of people who would like to join the Friends.
actually,
yeah.
the moms who push me
Right.
they've signed up, so I'm
Yeah.
super excited about that, because they are some of the moms that are my biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. The second thing I would like your blessing on is a winery sip night. So what is going to happen is I'm going to reach out. I've done all the legwork, so I found a bunch of small wineries that are here in Worcester County, in the Quabbin, and they grow certain types of grapes that are only conducive to here in New England. There's one here in Hubbardston. I met them; they're lovely people. There's one in New Salem. There's one in Hardwick, obviously Hardwick Winery, Neshoba, who everybody knows, and then there's some smaller ones that are family owned and operated. It's 7 overall. I don't know if all 7 would come. And a meadery as well. There's a meadery here that uses all local Hubbardston honey to make the mead. So they would be joining us as well. It's 7 overall. I don't know if all 7 would come. It'd be great if all 7 could come, but I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. A friends group cannot do this event. We would have to do the event as the library. It cannot be a friends group event because I've called the insurance company, because people have told me they've tried to do this before. You need a multi-million-dollar insurance policy, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, the town has a very large insurance policy on the library. So I called Caitlin from Barry Insurance, who is our insurance provider for the library, and I asked her thoughts and what she thought if this was a good idea. She said, we're not the first library to do this as a fundraising event, and that's why she told me it cannot be a friends group, because the town holds that $5-10 million insurance policy on the library. The friends group would have to hold that insurance policy, and no friends group is going to have that kind of policy for something like this. So what the wineries do need to provide me with is a certificate of liability, which every winery, meadery, brewery, anybody who makes food or sells things like that has already as a business. It just names the library in case anything should happen. I will have to apply for a one-day pour license with the select board, but if only I knew their clerk. And they would do one ounce pours. They would also, part of the winery night is they're going to give everybody kind of just like a small education, because we are a library, and I think educating people is great about their winery, why they grow certain grapes, what they're known for, that kind of thing, so people can sip and enjoy. I am going to reach out to Smith's Country Cheeses to add maybe possibly a pairing to go with wine. Snacks and wine go together, like peanut butter and jelly. And then the only other thing is we obviously have to work within the constraints of how many people are allowed to have in the library. I haven't gotten the talk from Chief yet about the Animal Adventures numbers, so I will be more cognizant of that going forward. So people will have to buy tickets in advance, that way we can, but I feel like it'll be a rotating thing. People come in, enjoy, and then leave, and then more people can come in, enjoy, and leave. And obviously if you're purchasing tickets, you have to be over 21. That kind of goes without saying. So for people to purchase tickets, they're going to do it. I'm going to see if I can do a form that they fill out, and they have to enter their birthday. And then when they come with their tickets, they will have to show their driver's license.
Based
have-
on interest, do you think that you could do timed tickets?
I think I'm going to do like a seating almost,
Yeah.
like this such and such seating, this is the first seating, this is the time period for that, then the second seating, and then a final third seating.
Okay.
That will also give people plenty of time to babysitters if need be, or what have you, so that, you know, we can maximize the amount of people but not break the sound barrier by having too many people in the library. I think that's all I
You
have.
have a winery called Agronomy.
Yes, I do.
Good.
Yes, I do. I did lots of research into all the different wineries. I've talked to several of them, and they were really interested. And they actually most of the time they have to pay to do this. This would be them coming for free, and we would be selling tickets. So they were way more interested in doing that than when they have to go to other SIP nights. They actually have to pay to be the winery or brewery or whatever at the event. This way, they're doing it for us, getting their wines out there. Now, I am going to market it for a Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day kind of event in February, either before or after Valentine's Day. I think we'll get more interest because I was going to do it for January, and I was going to talk to you previously, but then all of my girlfriends were like, oh no, we're doing dry January, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. No, I don't want it. No. So I was thinking Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day kind of esque theme, because I don't want to compete with the tea party that the senior center does. I have gone head to head with the senior center, and I have lost twice this past year, so I'm not having a good record with that. So I'm going to let them do their tea party, and I'm going to focus on this. As long as I get your blessing, obviously. I don't want to do anything that doesn't fit with the library.
You have to vote.
I don't know.
Discussion?
Hmm?
Discussion on it?
I think discussion, but I don't think we have to make a motion.
Okay.
So I think it's a program
Yeah.
or a fundraising event. So
Sounds good to me.
I'm pretty excited, but that's just because I love wine and I love how it's made, and I'm also an archaeologist, so wine and beer has a huge history in this country, let alone just the world. So it brings people together. It's been bringing people together for centuries, and so haven't libraries, so let's mix them together.
So this would be in the library?
It would be
And
in the
what would you do,
library.
set up little tables?
Little tables, chairs, nice tablecloths, a little centerpiece, all would be donated. We wouldn't have to spend anything, and everybody will get a glass, and we'll have rinse buckets, kind of like when you go to a tasting, so that would be set up so that people can sit, and they would go and pick their wine from, it would almost be like a long bar with all the different wineries, and they can try multiple wines. They're 1 ounce pours, so they're very, very tiny, just enough to taste and decide what you like and what you don't like.
Would it be possible, do you think, I don't know of our library having done this event or similar in the past, to get community feedback and an opportunity to get, one, about the event, and two, about the library, and if they like this event, if there are other events, programming or otherwise.
Yeah,
I thought it might be a good opportunity, one, if we're getting education out, the wineries are saying why they're choosing grapes and things like that. One, based on tickets, we'll be able to tell how many people would be interested in that. But then if we get an audience, it might be a good time to do community outreach of, like, just feedback.
Yeah, so I would obviously be there for all the seatings, and I think it'd be a good time to mingle, ask people questions, because wine has a way of loosening your tongue a little bit. Or just people just feeling comfortable. And that way we could do exactly that. Get feedback, ask them, you know, what kind of programs they would like to see. Would they like to see more or less of something? It's a great way to mingle and network and do outreach.
With it being in February, are we thinking of holding it? Would it be in the children's room?
It would be in the entire library. They would be able
Meaning
to
that
float
floor.
between, that whole floor. They'd be able to float between the two rooms. I was actually going to set up the wineries in the main circulation room and then have the seating in the children's room. The best part about the children's room is the bookcases are in casters.
Mm-hmm.
So as we found out last Friday, we can make that room really wide open once we get those bookshelves pushed up
As we
against the
use
wall.
things downstairs, the library has been very creative in that, in similar flexibility when we do move downstairs with furniture. I would encourage similar considerations.
I believe that everything, when it comes to having a space like we do, everything should be on wheels that lock.
That law.
The sensory table wheels don't lock very well, so it starts to move across the floor.
Will they be selling wine?
That's what I was
So I talked to the insurance company about that, if they're allowed to sell wine at the thing, and they are. They are absolutely allowed to sell their wine if that is something that they choose to do. Obviously, anybody attending the event is over 21, so they don't have to police that as heavily. And this is a good chance for them to, as well, too. One winery even said that however many bottles of wine that they sell, if they do have the chance, because they left it up to us if we will allow them to sell their wine, they're going to do a donation of their sales straight back to the library. Which I told them they didn't have to do. That wasn't part of it, but that was then. I also thought Valentine's Day and doing it in the wintertime was a good idea because people don't have a lot to go out and go to, as well as the wineries, and I feel like that kind of business takes a hard hit in the winter. You know, in the springtime you've got tastings, in the summertime you've got bridal showers and weddings and all this other stuff happening at wineries, but in the wintertime you don't have as much to go to. You don't have farmers markets to go to, you don't have tasting events to do, because who wants to go out on a night like tonight?
The trustees.
Trust me. In my super bulky sweater.
Is there a earmark for where the fundraising, how it would be spent?
Oh gosh, no, I'd leave that up to you. I'd just hand you the money and be like, hi, there.
Well, it might be
Okay.
good to let people know, though. You know,
So-
Right,
it's for
so it's
children's programmings, or it's for,
library
furnishing the room
helping.
downstairs or something
Right.
like that.
I would like to see the money used towards refurbishing the downstairs, whether it be buying furniture or rugs or sensory things, or making my goal for 2025, my New Year's resolution for the library is to get as much ADA training as possible, so I can do an ADA story time or have ADA events that are earmarked for children who are on the spectrum or need a comforting space.
Would it be possible, an opportunity to do a little split of one, set aside a goal, and even say we have a goal of seed money for the Friends based on the meeting on the 20th. So if we have a set seed money, that could be like our seed money to start up the Friends. Everything above and beyond that would be going straight towards renovations and additional programming downstairs.
Like I said, I'm just here to raise the money, and I'm gonna let y'all figure out how you want to spend it.
But I think it's good to just let people know in
Yeah.
advance, because
think-
it kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
makes it more exciting.
It
in a way,
does.
like, I'm going to be part of, you know.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
And I think that that's something that's really well, or if we announce it, then they say it's like a win-win-win.
Yeah.
And hey, I want to do more, or let me know when you're doing the additional programming and I want to participate.
Yeah.
That's great.
Everyone's comfortable moving forward with this?
I'm comfortable with it.
Sure. Great. Thank you for
Are we going to
coordinating this.
announce? I would assume we should announce and inform the police, just given.
That's going to be an interesting conversation with Chief. He's probably going to cross his arms and roll his eyes at me, but
just so that they're.
they'll be
Yeah.
aware. They'll be aware. I would actually, I think when I've talked to him in the past about doing big fundraising events like that at the library, he suggested perhaps having one of the officers that, you know.
I think it would be nice just so that they're aware, because I mean Hubbardston's small, but at the same time, if we have a group of people, it might be nice to have just a presence known.
Right. President's known to, you know. Yeah. So I told him that that will be that. So I'll let him know. But fingers crossed, I hear back from wineries. I've only got one interest so far, so hopefully they all start to file in. I do have a backup plan in case it's not all just wineries. I am going to reach out to Stone Cow, Lost Hounds, some of the other breweries in town. That way it's wine and beer for the gentlemen who may want to attend. I know my husband, he's a craft brew guy. He brews his own beer. I'm a wine girl, so maybe this way it's like a small mom and dad date one night or something like that. So if I don't get enough interest in wineries, I can branch out. The craft drink, alcoholic beverage community is pretty great. Once I talk to one, they're like, oh, we'll call this person and call this person and call this person. So
That's great.
amazing.
I have a brewery.
You have a brewery?
I mean, not mine, but I have access to a brewery.
You have access to a brewery?
My son-in-law's the brewer. So,
Is he the master brewer?
yeah. It's in Somerville. We'll get some out here if you need it.
Oh, I would love it. My husband would love it. Which brewery in Somerville?
Remnant
We've been there.
in the courtyard.
Yep. My husband's a big, huge craft brew guy. So.
I don't mean to butt into this, but if you're going to have a sit around and social time and ask questions and whatnot, a couple of these trustees could show up with name tags and say, we're a library trustee.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Any questions, you know?
Right. No, for
Okay.
sure. I would love to have you guys there.
Do they have to pay?
Yes.
Yes. Because I will be charging
Yes.
them an entrance fare.
We paid at the office.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about like asking questions, I don't want to make them feel like they're intimidated. Like that, you know, I want them to be able to socialize. If we're just like walking around talking,
Just regular.
it's regular. Like I don't want it to be
Or
like.
one of them.
I mean,
What do you think?
hey,
Yeah.
you know, I want it to be a
Spanish
little-
Inquisition.
Yeah, I want it to be a little like more laid back. You
Yes,
know?
I definitely think it's going to be a laid back, nice, cozy event. I'm really looking forward to it. I actually, my mom was at my house today and she saw my husband calls it my murder board, but it's my conspiracy theory board. My all of my ideas out of this chaotic brain of mine onto paper, and my mom is nosy, so she was looking through all of it. And she's like, well, if you need help with all of this. And I was
Okay.
like, because she's retired now, so she needs to find something to do. So she's like, I'll help. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Very
Okay,
good.
so exciting
We
things.
can't get gifts, so we have to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
What would be the cost of a ticket?
Well, that's the question I wanted to ask you guys. What is your price point comfortable? Because I talked to two other programming person. Thanks for Chris for getting me attached to people on Facebook. I contacted two different libraries, one out in Ohio and one out in California, who's done this. The library's in Napa Valley, so I mean they do this quite often. What they charge. And they charged anywhere between $50, which I was like, to $20. So I want to find somewhere maybe in the middle, but I want to leave that up to you.
I was thinking 25.
I was leaning
Okay.
towards 25 too.
Yeah.
25?
So.
Okay.
Because you want to also make it worth a while that if we make enough money
Right.
for the event too. So like, I think $10 would be like way too
Yeah.
low,
Yeah.
but you don't want to price people out as
Right.
well. So
I just have to talk to Chief about when the town offices move out of the basement, does that automatically raise the number of people we can have in the library?
Are you talking Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably has to do with which room you're in, not
I
the
don't,
building.
I don't know how that works just because I haven't delved.
We could
deep
hold
into
it
that.
downstairs and then big empty
And
open
look.
space.
Yeah.
I think we should have an animal program at the same time
Oh my
downstairs
gosh,
for the
kids.
kids.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Ed was great, but oh my lord. When he
Is that
brought
the
up the
first-
snake, all I could think of was this one over here going, oh, no. My husband actually walked into Chris's office. He opened the door and walked right into Chris's office because he was like, nope. No, thank you. It's a big snake.
Well,
It's a
maybe like if
snake.
you had 2 seatings, like 6 to 8 and 8 to 10 or something,
That's what
that
I
would
was
be
thinking.
manageable.
A 6 to 8 and 8 to 10. That way, we would, because most of my programs, my nighttime programs, are at 6 o'clock. I think it's not interfering with dinner time, and kids' activities are mostly done by that time. So, and I would ask if I could do it on a Friday night, if that's all right.
I would do 6 to 7:30, 8 to 9:30, because you're gonna
That's
need
a
a half
good
hour.
idea.
You're gonna need a half hour to reset and kind of-
Reset and
yeah.
clean glasses
Yep,
and stuff like
exactly.
that. Yep.
I would just ask that you don't do it the week of Valentine's Day.
I'm not going to do it the week of Valentine's
Okay.
Day just because the week of Valentine's Day holds a special place in our family. So I don't
Okay.
do things the week of Valentine's
Good.
Day.
I will be in Pennsylvania, so
I got
would like to
engaged
attend.
on Valentine's Day. So
So like the 21st.
yeah, I was thinking the February 21st.
Is that school vacation week?
That is an excellent question.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So that's probably not good.
No, I actually think that would be perfect.
Oh.
Kids are out of school. Babysitters are more readily available.
And the parents have just had their kids for an entire week.
They need
break.
the liquid courage to get through till they go back to school.
Would it be hard to schedule or coordinate that babysitting thing you set up before?
Would it be hard? Probably not. I have gotten a really good network now.
I'm just wondering, that could be a nice, maybe they would have to pay for it, but it might
yeah,
I
an
think so.
additional fee to have the
Yeah.
babysitting service. The most important thing would be, I would definitely be able to get plenty of girls or people. I can't say girls because I actually have a couple of guys that would do it as well. They would. Most of them have already been quarried, so that's fantastic. But it would be, I think, an additional fee to the ticket.
Yeah.
Right,
for
because
them
we would need
to-
to pay this. We would need to pay them, the babysitters.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like we,
They require my signature for their community service sheets.
Okay. All right.
I've offered
not
to
a
pay
big
them
deal.
in the past, and they're like, no, we need this for community service
all
because
right.
you need so many community service hours
Okay.
to graduate. And then for the Monty Tech early childhood education, they need me to sign off on their practical hours. They get practical hours towards their
As long as it's
early
going towards
childhood
something
education.
and it's
It is
not-
going towards something.
Because I'm just not a big fan
Where
of,
where would you put it? In the slave?
So for the babysitting, if everything went spectacular, we would have the basement programming room that we could hold them in. However, we wouldn't. And I know that if I wanted to put kids in here or in the Slade, Nate would wring my neck. And Claudia would not allow it.
So perhaps
But
it's
next
something
door.
based on next door where?
In the
That office.
I think she just said
Nate
Nate wouldn't
said
allow
no.
it.
Would say no.
would no.
But they'll be
more
out of there.
supervision.
You said they were moving out February
Oh,
1st.
they would be out of there. But once we're out of there, Claudia's already started measuring my office for curtains.
All right.
I mean, so I think if the babysitting thing works out, that's great.
Great. If
but
it
I think if
doesn't-
it doesn't, I think it's fine too.
I think it's fine
I don't
too.
think it's imperative, and I don't
Yeah.
think we should
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
make or break.
So
Is there a room in the school that would be
Well,
available?
the reason why we're creating,
cost.
yeah,
The
Custodian.
school doesn't do anything for the
town.
town
What's
anymore.
that cost to do the cafeteria thing?
So here's the issue. If it came from me in my office as the executive assistant, it came from Nate saying we needed a room in the school, they can't charge us because we own the school. Hubbardston owns the school. The taxpayers own that school. The district does not own that school. The issue that the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts and other groups are having with the school is they're now requiring a facilities request form. And you now need to provide that facilities request form through their office with a certificate of liability, with insurance, which most Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts do have. It's just not an easy process for smaller troops to get a hold of that information. Or they've passed in the paperwork and never heard back. Because you needed to give it to them in months in advance. It's why for the town meeting, I haven't held it in the school. I've held it in the library because I was told no.
Okay, we'll solve that problem with the
Well,
basement.
it's a bridge that we need to cross, and we need to figure it out. But right now, I think that's why so many groups are meeting in the library, because the accessibility to the school has gone downward.
We need to put that in our application
For the CPC funds?
for the grant.
Oh, I absolutely think that, you're creating a community meeting space, and that is what the library was always intended on doing. I read your strategic plan, the previous one, and that was the goal, was to create the library as a community space. And when I applied for the grant that we almost got, we didn't have a friends group, they liked that I said, the library is on the town seal. It is the focal point of our town, is the library. It's always been that way. It's the most recognizable building, and that's what this community needs. So, for the community meeting space in the basement, I think is the most important thing. It's providing a place that you don't have to jump through several hoops to use.
If the school requires an insurance day of meeting, whatever, is there a reason for that? Are we exposing ourselves to liability and they're covering their rear ends, or?
So, I don't honestly know.
I think we maybe should find that out.
So when they gave me the facilities request form to use for town meeting. They gave us a facilities request form for town meeting
Okay.
that we had to fill out. And I was like, when I called the insurance company, she started laughing.
Okay. So
She's like,
there's-
because we carry the insurance for that school.
Okay.
We're providing our own
Could just be
insurance
a scheduling thing, because
certificate.
like there's people
for-
in there tonight doing something.
Right,
they
right.
just-
I honestly think most of it is just, but
Yeah.
for scheduling, you haven't had to do this in the past, and it's just another hoop that you have to jump through to use the school.
But we're
So-
not opening ourselves to some sort of liability.
I
here
don't
by
think so. Like with
having
the
people-
wineries and stuff, they understand that they actually have to give us a certificate of liability just to say that they carry insurance, and that's in case anything should happen. We're covered. They're covered.
I didn't
everyone
mean
is
just for
covered.
the winery
I
thing.
think
I
she's
just
talking
meant in
about
general.
Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, the Boy Scouts coming. Yeah,
I mean,
no,
at the
or
worst case scenario,
something.
we could always just call another public library and be like, when you have groups come in, do you require a certificate of liability? Right. I imagine that they don't, and I imagine we probably
I'm just
don't.
curious.
Yeah, but
I-
it
I
is a
would
good
have no
point to bring
idea,
up.
but- So-
I have honestly no
Yeah.
idea either.
I think we should find that out.
Is it okay if I move on to standing items?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Looking at the calendar for the trustees, financial and other activities, there's not anything on the January calendar right now is to submit the CPC grant. So I think we're good there. First floor rehab is still kind of like on hold.
So we did get the actual proposals for these. We got them today. They're not very detailed, so I'm still not exactly clear. But it does explain, this one was foundation, sorry, and then this one was the rehab. I'm looking for the title.
So looking at the rehab, it looks like Chris's office wasn't funded because it was a furniture request.
Yeah, they
So
they thought that the bookcases
Yeah, I
were
remember that.
furniture not built in.
This is
so
the same one I have.
They didn't feel that that was.
Where did you find that out, or just because
Chris
of the
had
numbers?
something that you got from the town that it said managers or library director's office not funded, which I didn't know that. But then when I thought about it, it made sense because we knew from CPC we can't request furniture, and so that was a furniture request.
Okay.
So I don't know what you guys have in your hands. I don't know if this stuff that was in the document.
No,
that
this
I-
Stuff we
Foundation.
just got today.
We just wanted to confirm that the one we had in the Google Drive was what we submitted, and I think it is. But
Okay.
this one does still say director's office.
Does it say funded or not funded? Well, something I saw said not funded. That Chris Kiesel, you had something that you got from Mel, and I thought it said not funded.
It came from Krista,
There's only two here.
because that's who we talked to today.
One is,
Dig deeper side.
one is foundation, and the other one is a main floor rehab, not the basement. Main floor where we go around and
Right, and
patch walls. and-
that's what we. Can I see that real quick?
Sure.
Can I just- So, yeah, this is what I think we submitted. But Chris, you had something. And I remember seeing it and being surprised, but
We're only seeing the applications. I don't know what happens on the
Yeah,
other
I know,
end.
that's why I don't know what happens either. I don't have any of those.
Yeah, and they
So-
didn't seem to have it either. So
So-
I'm not sure
Okay, then
how it
maybe I
gets
just completely-
translated from this to the actual award.
You'd have to look at the town warrant for the annual town meeting. They have
We
to vote
did.
on.
But that's what we have.
But it's not very detailed.
It's not detailed at all, so.
Well, we only have to obey the warrant.
Right.
We don't have to obey our application.
Sure. But anyway, first floor rehab is not moving forward right now.
This is
Yeah.
it, I think.
Is that,
It says does not include director's office.
yes, this is what I saw that you had.
And
It
that,
says director's office not funded.
yeah.
And then the other ones don't say that they're funded or not, but I'm assuming that they are.
Is that the 2022?
What's funded is Chris's financial report.
The money that we
There's
have.
no other money.
Right, exactly.
It's not broken down into.
No.
It's not. There's it's one ballpark number.
It's just a little hard to know how to follow the grant if we don't know what.
Right.
what
I
it is.
think when we look at the grant, I think the interior storm windows, the leaks, the children's room lighting, the public safety signage, and the patching and painting. Because the only one that says it's not funded is director's office. So I think we can work on the assumption that everything else was funded. And if we go back and look at our original proposal, I think it was like $1,800 for the director's office or something like that.
Well, it might be best not to put funding into the existing main floor director's office if we want to utilize the stairs. And it may be worth exploring more when documentation is determined, how long it's going to be there, what the future of that is.
Have we asked Chris how she feels about moving downstairs? I mean, it's crowded where she is, but it's also really convenient.
It is convenient, but at some point, as I think Morgan said, because my brain is starting to get a little fuzzy right now, is that at some point it's going to be a throughway. So,
So if we want to especially have access to it, it makes sense to put less of an investment into it now and look forward. So temporary solutions.
I mean, I can still. I've been working in it for 5 years now, so it's not an issue. I would prefer to have that nice hole in the northwest corner, get that kind of fixed so that the air wouldn't keep flowing in.
Well, maybe that could be.
Oh, you
like-
mean downstairs?
No, I mean in the main floor, back in the
Oh,
adult.
oh, the hole in the wall?
Yeah, that whole
Yeah,
nice
the whole,
little gap.
there's a picture of it in here.
Yeah.
Well, but maybe if we do go ahead with a contractor, maybe we can try to get them
Put
to
that in.
piggyback on that somehow. Because it's been a problem just finding people to do the work, I think, right?
Give them a separate contract.
Because we have this money.
We do, yes.
So-
So foundation repair, though, we are gonna have knocked out, I think, 2 of the items in our accounts, and part of a third one. I don't have it.
We did the electrical, upgrade and the signage for safety.
Right. But, so for the foundation, we're gonna take out the $5,000 from the annual town warrant from 2020. We're gonna take out the $8,000 from the 2019 town meeting. And from the library brick repair, which has $20,000 in it, we're gonna take out the remaining costs.
I'm sorry.
So that will be for the foundation work we just had completed.
And what was his bill?
The 2019.
It was
Oh,
under 20, maybe 17,000 or so.
okay.
2020.
Can I ask a question? The foundation repair that they did, and obviously they had to rip a ton of stuff out and to do it, is more work gonna happen in that area, or is it all done? The only reason why I ask is a couple of people are wondering if they could donate pollinator-friendly flowers, because they know I do butterfly releases out there every year, and they wouldn't mess with the foundation, because I know with like butterfly bushes, they are terrible for foundations. Do not put them anywhere near your house. But they would be friendly towards the foundation. But I didn't want to start digging in that dirt unless everything was done, because it's just going to get trampled and ripped out again.
I would say the digging is done. I haven't seen it last couple of days, but it's done. I didn't see any sinkholes or anything.
No, I've walked across that lawn several times.
That might not be the best place for a
So
polling
that'll
worker.
come up, that will be like the difference. So 5,000, 8,000 go first, and then
There's
the
a strip
difference
of
can go to
land
that.
along the top of the parking lot, between the parking lot and the sidewalk, which has invasive species in it now. The
Japanese burberry.
yeah, that one. Need to get rid of that. As is the hedge over there. And if we're going to dig it up and take out the invasives, we could make
Put
a
it there.
strip of. I'm just an idea.
No, I just do the butterfly releases out there every year, and before the shrubs out there were fine for them. They had flowers on them. They were mostly fine, but since most of them got ripped out anyways, if we could replace it with something, add some curb appeal, I guess, or whatever you guys thought.
Have we ever had the caterpillar lab here?
No, it never succeeded, because what ends up happening is the first time that they were going to do it, they got hired for the entire summer, I think
Oh,
at
that's
Cushing
right.
or some other
Yeah.
academy where they did the whole thing there, and they just couldn't come here because
Yeah.
of that. So that one I just think went back into
It's a
the
great
fund.
place.
Yeah. All right, just trying to keep us on track a little bit. So foundation repair, we're going to get the bill. We're going to pay out of the 2019-2020 fund, and anything out of the library brick repair. We still have money for pointing for the bricks. Were we happy with the pointing work that they did on the foundation repair? And if so, would we want to bring them back to finish any other pointing to try to finish up this fund?
I haven't inspected that.
Okay.
It was our intention to take out fake pointing. In other words, people went in there with a rubber caulking compound and put in real pointing, and I haven't seen it. I have to go out and look.
He's
Okay.
supposed to be sending us pictures along with the invoice. I have
Okay.
not seen the invoice. It's possible that Nate's received it yet.
I don't believe Nate doesn't receive anything. I receive it, so
Okay.
I would
no,
say
I haven't
table until we do
Yep.
get
seen
them.
I think so,
anything
please. Yep.
on my end yet. So
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
keep my eye
And then
out for it,
let's do
though.
an inspection.
Yeah,
and
so
see.
maybe in spring we can take a look and see how it looks, and if we're happy with any of the work they did, maybe we can have them come back and
And then probably other spots.
do rest of the pointing that might need to be done.
I'm happy, maybe even on the 20th, if it's not like 10 degrees out.
Yep, for sure.
Can I just get back to the garden, because we really need to redo the whole front, like because our sidewalk is messed up compared to the new sidewalk, so I think it kind of needs to wait. At least
Okay,
that's my
that's fine.
opinion,
No,
because
that's totally
we,
fine.
if we just do piecemeal, then stuff might have to get moved.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
'Cause
for sure.
It's not like we haven't thought about it, but we do have some foundation, grant fund. Trust funds that could be used for that.
Okay, perfect.
And
Yeah.
thinking about the planter box in the spring, that would be a starting point that is very flexible versus putting plants in that we might have to.
Eventually,
dig up.
then dig up.
Yeah.
How are the heat pumps coming?
Oh, okay. So they are physically on the wall. I spoke with Paul from Pierce because I earlier spoke with Duffy, who said that while Pierce applied for or submitted a building permit for the pad for the condenser unit outside, they did not apply for a building permit to put the heat pumps into said building. It is a mechanical system and it needs to have that. So I contacted Pierce. I said, hey, you never applied for a building permit for this, so you need to fix that. They said they will address that. In addition, Duffy had some concerns about they drilled holes through walls that are firewalls that were not properly sealed. The ceiling tiles were not dropped down back the way they're supposed to, because that's a fire break for them. And so they're coming in next week to fix that, all of the things that he had an issue with. But I said, you still need to apply for building permits. So that is getting addressed next week. I don't know, have you heard from National Grid at all on the pole? Because the HVAC people said they can't come in without the 3-phase. in the
So-
building.
Still
So
waiting.
until we have the pole up, we can't do anything about it.
They sent me 6, National Grid sent me 6 poll location hearings. And as I'm going through them all, I'm like, where's the library poll? Because that was the one that you were supposed to send me on top. Oh, well, I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you. He still hasn't gotten it to me. So I told him that
So we're
today
still in-
it was, right as I left, I saw a little notification from National Grid. I'm hoping that is the poll. It will be the first, on the agenda for the first week of February with the select board. I'm doing like all 8 poll hearings at once because getting hold of National Grid is next to impossible. They physically have to be here for that, so I can corner them. But so hopefully that'll be the first week on the agenda. All the polls, including the library poll, should be in there. But all of the paperwork that he sent me had the wrong town. They had the select board members' names wrong. There were grammatical errors like you wouldn't believe. It was a really bad cut and paste job sent through ChatGPT to spit out the paperwork. And I can't have that.
All right, so
National Grid's theirs.
we'll get there.
We're getting there.
We'll get there.
Do you think the ceiling is what they were talking about downstairs, or is the whole ceiling?
There's 2 ceilings. CEIL is the ceiling we're talking about. But when you punch a hole in the wall,
Oh,
you've got to
Sorry.
let the pipe through and then seal, SEAL,
okay.
the pipe to the
Okay,
wall
thank
so
you.
that fire and heat can't go back and forth through a wall.
And it sounded like both were an issue,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes.
How's
along
it
with
spelling?
permits and paperwork.
Well, the
you.
permit system was down. So so OpenGov, the permitting system that we used to use, shut us off on December 1st. And our new Civic Optimize hasn't kicked in yet. So we were doing paper permits. So hopefully that is all fixed.
Okay.
And then on Thursday, January 23rd, we have another trustees meeting. So we have a meeting on the 20th for the Friends and a meeting on the 23rd to review the policies. So
You mean
No.
February 23rd?
January 23rd.
January.
That's soon.
Yep. So not next week, but the week after, we have 2 meetings. 20th for the Friends, 23rd for,
Did we set a time? Is it 7 p.m.?
I think it's 7 o'clock.
Say that again, please.
So on January 23rd at 7 o'clock, we're going to have a meeting to go over the library policies
All right.
that Morgan and Krista have been
Okay.
working to
We did
revise.
that last time.
And we already have those we can link to and
Do-
review.
Do we want to postpone that? I'm just wondering.
I'm open to that if you guys, how do you guys feel with 2 meetings in 1 week?
Well, I think the 20th is pretty informal. I mean, at least I expected it to be.
The other thing is establishing the goals for the 23rd. I am in no means anticipating that we're going to get through all
Sure.
the policies and vote and say, hey, we're done.
Oh, in one meeting?
Yeah. I think establishing goals for that meeting of getting on the same page, being familiar with it, and then discussing as trustees, what are our goals? And also, that would be an opportunity for Krista and I to say the ones that we have written, why we wrote them, and why we put them the way that they do. If you guys have read them, great, in advance of the meeting. If you didn't, you're not going to get
Yeah.
a failing grade. Don't worry. Come to the
It's
meeting,
overwhelming.
give us your feedback, okay? Let's just get the ball starting to roll and then establish another meeting.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I was just thinking, like, if we're going to have a meeting room, you know, that's not in the policies, and, you know, maybe we just want to wait till we're a little past some of our transition. But I think
Well,
your
I
point
think we
is
have some
good.
policies that we can discuss that
Sure.
aren't necessarily space-related, correct?
Sure, yeah.
So
And then
I would
I-
rather get this process going because we've
Okay.
been kicking down
Okay.
the road
and then
a
discuss
lot.
like tone of what we
So-
want.
Yes, that's a
and
good point.
yeah.
And can we have it somewhere where we can all see it on the screen? I don't know.
And
I
we
don't
did that
Home.
last time.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if
Is
you know,
this
we
going
can
to be a
try-
Zoom meeting or is this, so that's why I just wrote down of Zoom, but otherwise here or
or in Slade?
in Slade of availability. And if neither are available, then we should be electronic and on
Do
Zoom.
you guys want to do it as a Zoom meeting? Because I mean, I can do it.
Would be nice.
I can just.
I'm in favor of Zoom.
Yeah,
Let's
me
be
too.
comfortable, wear your slippers, stay warm. Let's treat this as an introduction and getting the ball going meeting.
I did change out
Chris,
the pajama pants.
you'll be able to set up a Google Meet for us.
Well, I can't do Google Meet. It'll have to be
Be Teams?
Teams.
Okay.
But
we
yeah,
can
I
put it on
can.
Teams.
I can figure
Sorry,
that out by then.
Teams.
You can help me.
Yes, I can help you.
See.
Okay. All right. So the January 23rd
That's
meeting
fine, right?
will be a Teams.
Is that an
Microsoft
app
Teams.
that everyone
23rd,
has?
23rd will be on Microsoft.
They shifted
It'll be
it.
online.
I don't know what
Google
Teams
to
is. You can explain it to me
Microsoft.
after.
It's like it's just another
365.
version of like Google
Do I
Meet
need
or
to-
Boy, oh
Zoom.
boy, did it make
Do I
me
need
feel
to put something
illiterate.
on here to do that?
You should
All right.
be able to click on the link and you should be able to open it within your browser.
Oh, so once
So I don't use
you
Teams.
send
You should
us
not
that.
have to.
Yeah,
That's all I
you-
need.
You should
Yeah.
not have to. My husband has had many team meetings with people outside his organization that don't have teams, so
Okay.
you should not have that.
Yeah,
I
it
issue.
should
wanna
just
be prepared.
It should just be like anything, a tiny little thing you click on to or plug in
Okay,
to get
that's
into.
fine. I mean, I use
a
Zoom all
browser,
the time, but I'm not
It
familiar
asks
with
you
the
if you
other ones.
wanted to join the meeting by downloading Teams or without downloading Teams.
Right.
Yeah.
You can hit the
Okay,
button.
yeah.
Okay, and it can be recorded.
Yes.
Yes.
Anything else?
Will you be referring to specific components of the document so that if we're not with you looking at a screen, for instance,
Sure.
Sharing the screen. You
You
mean?
can share the screen so that you can
so we
see
can
it.
see the
Yep.
document they're
Mhm.
referring to?
And I mean-
You can highlight it.
Worst case, if we determine that this is not a functional meeting, it can be a brief discussion on it, and we'll go from there. And if it turns into, okay, this is 30-40 minutes and we need to set it in person, then we know we need to set it up with a computer.
Yeah, I think it's.
We'll know from there, but then it gets the ball going.
Yep. Okay. All right. So Monday, January 20th, 1:30 to 3 in the library. Thursday, January 23rd, 7 o'clock online via Teams. Anything
You
else
said
we
January 20th, 1:30 to 3 for the
Friends.
Friends. It's MLK Day.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Very aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the library will be closed.
Our office will be closed as well.
Yep. So, any other items not on the agenda? All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Or Chris, I'm sorry, you're gonna.
I'm thinking of something.
Oh,
I
too
just
late,
have
Chris.
a question. I'll ask these two after. I
Are
think
you
of
sure?
it.
You sure?
No, it'll take too long.
Okay. You have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make such a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Morgan. Okay, all in favor? Okay, meeting is adjourned at 8:44.